Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Planet Democracy, where we break down the politics that actually matter to Canadians.
And this week, Ottawa is on edge. The Carney government just admitted it's worried its first budget might not pass, and that could send Canadians right back to the polls.
Yep, just 6 months after the last election, because apparently minority government now means permanent campaign.
What are we, turning into the USA and having one perpetual campaign trail?
Remember when politics was about helping people, not holding them hostage?
Yeah, those were the days, back before every budget became a game of chicken with Canada's future on the line.
The Carney government just admitted that they're worried their first budget won't pass, not because it's bad policy, but because opposition parties would rather burn the house down than build the country up.
And here we are again, 6 months after the last election, staring down another one. Because apparently the Bloc and Poilievre think Canadians want to vote every time someone doesn't get their shiny new toy.
Mark Carney's first budget lands November 4th, and instead of governing, Ottawa's already campaigning.
But here's the truth. This isn't just political theater. It's a fight over what kind of country we're building, who pays for it, and who's willing to burn it down to score a headline.
The Carney government has been clear. This budget is about stabilizing Canada after Trump's tariff war, rising grocery prices, and a shaky global economy.
But in a minority parliament, stability is the hardest thing to sell. You need at least one other party to pass a budget or the whole thing collapses.
And Liberal House Leader Stephen McKinnon just admitted that he's worried. Translation, the Conservatives and Bloc aren't negotiating, they're daring Carney to blink.
Because if they can kill this budget, they can spin it as Carney's a failure, even if it's Canada that ends up footing the bill.
And make no mistake, another election right now would be a gift to Trump, who's betting on a divided, distracted Canada while his tariffs keep hammering our industries. So what do you think? Should we be dragged into another election this soon?
Would you vote for stability or start this whole circus all over again? Tell us in the comments, because this might be decided faster than you think.
Poilievre kicked off this week with a stunt. A letter to the Prime Minister demanding that the deficit stay under $42 billion, which sounds nice until you remember the PBO projects nearly $70 billion because Canada's literally bailing out Canadian industries crushed by Trump's tariffs.
PP blames everything from grocery prices to food banks on massive money printing, but conveniently skips over Trump's tariffs, global inflation, and corporate profiteering. Apparently, it's all the Liberals' fault that global grain prices went up after a war in Ukraine.
So Carney's trying to protect auto workers, steel workers, softwood lumber, farmers, and Poilievre, he's trying to protect a talking point.
And that number 42, that's not fiscal discipline. Please. Poilievre's picking budget numbers the same way he picked his by-election seat. Whatever is the safest on paper.
And get this, he says to do it by cutting wasteful spending on bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid, and payouts to false refugee claimants. So basically, gut the civil service and toss refugees under the fiscal bus. Real classy, buddy.
It's the same old story. Slash services and somehow the economy will bloom. We've heard it before, and look where it got Alberta. They're selling off hospitals to balance the books.
But this letter's real goal isn't math, it's menace. It paints a picture of chaos, then offers himself as the savior with a calculator. Except his own numbers don't add up. They never do. The PBO officer already said $42 billion is a fantasy. It'd mean slashing jobs and canceling every tariff support fund for auto, steel, and energy workers.
He even writes Canadians have had enough of your buzzwords and broken promises, which is hilarious coming from the human embodiment of a buzzword generator.
You can almost hear the applause lines. Hidden food taxes, false refugees, record debt. It's not a letter, it's a launch speech for his next campaign.
The irony? Carney's the one trying to stabilize the economy Poilievre keeps setting on fire. By funding the industries, Trump's tariffs are burning down.
And then there's the Bloc Québécois. Blanchette's turning budget talks into a hostage negotiation.
18 demands and 6 non-negotiable.
They haven't even seen the budget yet, and they want billions more in health transfers, old age security boosts, and nearly $1 billion in carbon rebate compensation because Quebec wasn't part of the now-dead consumer carbon tax. It's political opportunism wrapped in provincial pride. The Bloc knows the Liberals can't afford another election, so they're testing how far they can push them. And truthfully, I think Quebecers have had enough too. It was Quebec that put Mark Carney in power in the last election. Thank you, Quebec. Meanwhile, the NDP is actually acting like adults.
Yeah, Don Davies fired back at McKinnon saying, it's the government's job to craft a budget that can win at least one opposition party.
His line is basically, don't blame us for your nerves, do the work and build support.
And he's not wrong. In a minority government, you don't get applause for panic, but you get votes for results.
Table the budget first and we'll judge what's in it.
And he drew a bright red line, no austerity, which means he wants substantial investment in jobs, healthcare, and housing, the stuff people actually feel.
And here's why that matters. Even with just 7 seats, the NDP can decide the night.
If the Conservatives and Bloc vote no, and the Liberals vote yes, the NDP's yes or even an abstention is enough to keep the lights on.
Confidence isn't 169 versus 172, it's who shows up and how they vote. A handful of votes can swing the country.
So what's the ask from the NDP side?
Don't slash your way to a headline. Put real money into homes people can afford, nurses and clinics that actually exist, and jobs that outlast the tariff storm.
Honestly, this is the only lane that doesn't insult Canadians' intelligence.
Carney's already ordered 15% savings for most departments. He's shoring up defense and borders, and he's backstopping industries Trump is squeezing.
If he pairs that restraint with visible investments the NDP can point to, like housing, jobs, and health, his budget survives, and Canadians get a plan instead of another campaign.
So tell us what you think. If the budget funds housing, healthcare, and jobs without austerity, should the NDP back it or abstain to let it pass? Let us know below in the comments.
And while Ottawa plays chicken, Trump's tariffs are still strangling Canadian exports. Cars, steel, agriculture, it goes on.
Remember the $5 billion emergency fund that Carney promised last month for industries hit hardest? That's what's driving up the deficit projections Poilievre is pretending to care about.
So it's a trap, Dave. Punish Carney for helping Canadian workers recover from American trade aggression.
It's like blaming the firefighter for the cost of the water after your neighbor torches your house.
And here's what makes this even more absurd. Canadians don't want another election. I know I don't.
No, actually 80% plus say that they want the parties just to make Parliament work. People are tired of the political games, the constant campaigns, and just that noise.
Because every election costs $600 million and months of paralysis while the world moves on. We already spent millions on PP's by-election sham in Alberta, and now he wants us to spend even more money.
Meanwhile, the U.S. economy is volatile, Europe's reorganizing, and Canada's trying to retool its supply chains.
This is not the moment for Pierre Poilievre's theater or Blanchette's brinkmanship.
Canadians don't want another parliamentary soap opera. They want results.
So what is Carney's strategy anyway? Well, he's trying to chart a middle course of fiscal restraint paired with targeted investment.
That's why he ordered every department except Defense, RCMP, and Border Security to find 15% savings over 3 years, while still funding NATO commitments, rebuilding trade routes, and expanding green manufacturing here at home.
It's a tightrope for sure. You spend too little and you fuel job losses. Spend too much and Poilievre calls you reckless.
But you know what's actually reckless? Threatening an election before he even knows what's in the budget just to get your name in a headline.
So Canada's at risk of catching America's disease. Politics as performance.
Yep, every issue becomes a battlefield, every vote a loyalty test, and every compromise a betrayal.
And who loses? Canadians. The single parent waiting for affordable housing, the nurse working overtime, the small-town auto worker who can't afford another tariff round.
Canadians don't wake up thinking about parliamentary procedure. They wake up wondering if they can pay rent, feed their kids, or retire.
But the Bloc and Conservatives are betting Canadians are too exhausted to notice the sabotage.
Over the next 2 weeks, the government will finalize the budget, and then everyone will begin to posture.
Poilievre will tweet about waste. The Bloc will hold another press conference demanding Quebec's fair share. And Don Davies will keep reminding everyone that politics isn't supposed to be a hostage negotiation.
So, if the budget fails, Carney will go to the Governor General and will head into another exhaustive $600 million election that nobody wants.
But if it passes, even narrowly, Carney gets breathing room to push through Canada's clean energy strategy, the AI, and the auto transition and housing initiatives that are already in motion. We need to give him time to make it work.
We do, because you know what? The stakes here are massive.
Yeah, we've got a government trying to steer through trade wars and climate chaos, and an opposition turning governance into hostage-taking.
Poilievre and Blanchette are gambling with the country's stability because chaos helps their brand.
But Canadians are smarter than that. We can tell the difference between accountability and sabotage. So before you scroll past another election threat headline, remember, the ones yelling the loudest are the ones not interested in solutions.
So, share this video so more Canadians know what's really going on, because democracy only works when we see through the noise.
And if you haven't already, hit like on this video, subscribe, and click on that bell for notifications every time we put up a new video.
And if you're looking for more behind-the-scenes coverage, check out our Substack and join the A-Team over there, or join the A-Team right here on YouTube. And if you want to support this channel and keep it independent, why not check out our merch store for cool stuff like this? We got t-shirts, mugs, hats, totes, all that kind of stuff where you can show your Canadian pride.
You can have a coffee with us every morning in your Canadian Never 51 mug, designed by Dave. Because this isn't just politics anymore. It's a fight for Canada's sanity and sovereignty.
So thanks for watching again. Let us know in the comments the answers to all those questions, and if you think Canada should be heading to the polls anytime soon.
See you next time.
Ciao for now.